Offering our pranams to Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, honorable dignitaries on stage, esteemed delegates of the conference, staff and students of our university, Sairam Namaste and a very good evening. We welcome you all to the Valedictory session of the All India Vice-Chancellors Conference 2025, and we will commence the program with our university students chanting verses from the Taittiriya Upanishad.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Yaschandasam Vrishabho Vishwarupaha Chandobhyo Dhamritaat Sambhabhuva Samendro Medhaya Aspranoto Amritasya Devadharano Bhuyasam Shariram Me Vicharshanam Jihva Me Madhumattama Karna Abhyam Bhuri Vishravam Brahmanah Koshosi Medhaya Pihitaha Shrutam Me Gopaya Avahante Vitanvana Kurvana Chiramatmanaha Vasagum Simamagavascha Annapane Cha Sarvada Tato Me Shriyamavaha Lomasham Pashubhis Sahaswaha Amayantu Brahmacharina Swaha Vimayantu Brahmacharina Swaha Pramayantu Brahmacharina Swaha Damayantu Brahmacharina Swaha Shamayantu Brahmacharina Swaha Yashojane Sa Niswaha Shreyan Vasya Sosa Niswaha Tantva Bhaga Pravisha Niswaha Sama Bhaga Pravisha Swaha Tasmin Sahasra Shakhe Nibhagahan Tvayi Mrije Swaha Yatha Pavpravatayanti Yatha Masa Aharjaram Evam Mam Brahmacharinaha Dhatarayantu Sarvata Swaha Prativeshosi Pramabhahi Pramapadyasva Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tatsata Shri Sai Ishwararpanamastu.
Today has truly been a momentous occasion for Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence. Despite being a fairly new university, our guiding philosophy is rooted in the ethos of our ancient scriptures. And this is what has empowered us to host this conference, to facilitate dialogue among policymakers and educationists, so that together we arrive at actionable steps which can be implemented across institutions, particularly in the higher education area. We are truly honored that so many of you have come here all the way from different geographies across the length and breadth of the country to participate in this conference. In fact, besides institutions from all over Karnataka, we have nearly 50 vice-chancellors from universities in Jammu and Kashmir in the north, all the way to Kerala and Tamil Nadu in the south, Gujarat and Rajasthan in the west, to Sikkim, Meghalaya and Arunachal in the east. Interestingly, they are also from varied sectors ranging from arts and science, technology, medicine, law, performing arts, among others. Thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules and enriching us with your invaluable thoughts and ideas. We now present a video on our global humanitarian mission that focuses on key verticals of nutrition, education, and healthcare, spanning across 80 countries under the leadership of Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai. Can we have the video?
One world, one family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is the guiding principle of the Sri Madhusudan Sai Global Humanitarian Mission. Founded by Sri Madhusudan Sai, a young humanitarian and visionary, the mission has established institutions in healthcare, education, and nutrition across 80 countries over the past 12 years. All services are provided free of charge, silently transforming millions of lives worldwide through the power of compassion. The Annapurna Morning Nutrition Program began in 2012 with breakfast for just 50 children and has since grown to become India's largest morning nutrition program. Today, over 10 million school children across India and beyond receive the Sai Sure multi-nutrient supplement, helping them begin each day nourished and ready to learn. In education, the mission has established a university and 28 residential campuses in India, as well as a school in Nigeria, offering free education from grade 6 through to doctoral studies. Over 3,700 students are receiving values-based education and developing skills to make a positive impact on society, with many coming from rural backgrounds and 40% being girls. A skill development center equips rural youth with job-ready skills through courses in plumbing and electrical technologies. Additionally, over 7,800 scholarships have been awarded to encourage primary school enrollment for rural children. The vision of accessible medical education was realized with the inauguration of the Sri Madhusudan Sai Institute of Medical Sciences and Research by Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi. Offering free medical education with a commitment to serve rural communities, the institute is bridging the healthcare gap between the urban and rural areas. On the healthcare front, the mission has established the world's largest network of free pediatric cardiac hospitals in India, Fiji, and Sri Lanka. Since 2012, over 34,000 life-saving procedures have been performed at these hospitals, all at no charge. Additionally, 5 mother and child hospitals, primary care wellness centers, mobile hospitals, 2 multi-specialty hospitals in India, and 2 hospitals in Nigeria have together provided consultations to more than 2.9 million patients. Looking ahead, the mission's next milestone is a 600-bed state-of-the-art hospital in Muddenahalli, set to be the world's largest fully free hospital. Scheduled for inauguration in November 2025, it will be the second teaching hospital for the medical college. This facility will provide world-class healthcare to everyone, removing financial barriers and ensuring equitable access to high-quality care. Beyond nutrition, education, and healthcare, the mission has also established 11 centers for human development across 10 countries, fostering both service initiatives. The vision for the future is bold and transformative: to establish 600 schools all over India and 6,000 wellness centers, one in every taluk. With a mission to ensure that no child goes to school hungry, the goal is to nourish 80 million children daily, empowering the next generation with education, health, and hope. This monumental dream embodies the spirit of oneness and service, striving to create a brighter, equitable future for all. When individuals prosper, society prospers. When society prospers, the nation prospers. And when nations prosper, the world prospers. Together, we are one world, one family.
After the inaugural session this morning, participants grouped themselves to delve into the question of why values-based education is the need of the hour, identify feasible and practical models, and finally consolidate outcomes from previous sessions. Ms. Anuradha Pai will now present a summary of the day's proceedings. She is currently pursuing final year undergraduation in humanities at our university.
Esteemed dignitaries, respected scholars, and distinguished participants, it is with great honor that I present the synthesis of our roundtable discussions on value-based and holistic education. Over the course of these deliberations, the educationists engaged in thought-provoking dialogues across 3 roundtable discussions in 2 sessions. Each session comprising a morning and post-lunch discussion culminating in a concluding session where key insights were consolidated into a unified vision for the future of higher education. These discussions were not merely theoretical, they reflected a collective commitment to redefining education, moving beyond technical expertise to nurture ethical leadership, social responsibility, and holistic well-being. The integration of traditional knowledge systems with modern methodologies emerged as a crucial theme, ensuring that education remains a force for personal, social, and national transformation. The deliberations have been categorized into key areas. The first being integration of values into education. Education must not be confined to skill acquisition, rather, it must be a transformative journey. At the heart of this vision are the three foundational pillars: Dharma, Vidya, and Samaja Seva. Second being implementation strategies. For this vision to become reality, institutions must move beyond isolated efforts and embrace systemic reforms. Institutionalizing value-based learning. Mandatory value-based education courses must be embedded in UG and PG programs. Ethics, civic responsibility, and Indian knowledge systems must be integrated across disciplines, and universal human values should be established as a research domain. Experiential and community-based learning. 15-day annual social service programs, mandatory participation in NSS, NCC to instill discipline and civic consciousness, and rural immersion programs. Institutional and faculty support. Faculty development programs must include structured 7 to 10-day foundational training in human values, and a faculty of transformative education and a school of consciousness development should be established. Dedicated human values cells must be created within universities to support continuous training, curriculum development, and outreach programs. Student well-being and emotional intelligence. Recognizing that mental and emotional well-being are foundational to academic success, institutions should introduce mindfulness, gratitude exercises, and stress-free learning methodologies. They should make yoga, meditation, and health education mandatory credit courses, and implement digital detoxification programs. Next being innovation in values-based learning, humane quotient and ethical development. The Humane Quotient Framework was introduced as a model for behavioral transformation, emphasizing character development, ethical leadership, and social responsibility. Ethical medical and healthcare education. Empathy and patient care ethics should be integrated into medical training. Future healthcare professionals must undergo experiential learning in patient interactions and emotional intelligence development. Family ethic projects and parental involvement. Parental engagement workshops should educate families on spiritual upbringing and emotional support for students. Coming to the challenges and the path forward, implementation of this vision comes with certain challenges, which are addressing institutional barriers. The commercialization of education often shifts the focus away from ethics and social responsibility towards financial incentives and rankings. Strengthening faculty and policy frameworks. A working committee should be formed to design and implement value-based curriculum frameworks for UG and PG programs. A unanimous consensus finally emerged throughout these discussions. Value-based education is not an option, but an urgent necessity. Higher education must transition from career-centric learning to value-centric education, ensuring that students must not only achieve professional expertise, but also develop a compassionate heart. By embedding Dharma, Vidya, and Samaja Seva into the education, institutions can cultivate individuals who are morally upright, emotionally resilient, and dedicated to serving humanity. The time for action is now. Let this be the beginning of a transformative journey that ensures education is not just a pursuit of knowledge, but a way towards wisdom, service, and true excellence. To quote the words of Sadhguru, values education will create individuals with head of Shankara, heart of Buddha, and hands of Janaka. Thank you.
This evening, we have a few eminent participants address us. First, we invite Professor Ahalya, Vice-Chancellor of Karnataka Samskrita Vishwavidyalaya, Bangalore, to share a few thoughts on the conference. She is a distinguished academician with over 30 years of experience in Ayurveda and Sanskrit studies. She previously served as principal of the Government Ayurvedic College, Joint Director and Deputy Registrar at Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences. Her leadership in integrating traditional knowledge with modern scientific research continues to impact the field of Ayurveda and higher education. Professor Ahalya, please.
Pranams. Vagartaviva sampraktau vagarta pratipattaye jagatah pitarau vande Parvati Parameshwarau. Om Sai Ram. Respected Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai Ji and the dignitaries on the dais, academic leaders from across the country, faculty and staff of this great institute of learning, and my dear students. I deem it to be my Purva Punya to be here standing, talking and sharing my experiences. The question that every academician has been bothered, how to bring in, how to instill values in education at this turn of the millennium is what I was also going through along with everybody, and the answer seems to have emerged. Like every era has its own challenges. We have challenges of affluence, of single child, single parent, social media, and so on to quote. And the stakeholders are too many, the student, the parent, the management, the teacher. How do we bring them all, align them in one aspect? And the answer seems to be the values-based education. But can we do it? Yes, the answer seems to be a sure yes. Under the leadership and the visionary leadership of Sadhguruji and all the great minds of this country who have deliberated since morning and who have probably come out with a rough roadmap of what is to be done in the next couple of months, I think we have found the answer. And with the right leadership and vision, I'm sure we will emerge. Like India has always been conquering everything and still emerging, I think we will come out of this also in a very strong way, stronger than where we stand. I represent Karnataka Sanskrit University, where we believe Sanskritam na kevalam bhasha apicha jeevotkarshini. It is not just a language, but it is the continuum of that life, that Bharatiyata, of the unbroken lineage, the avichinna parimpara of our great country. This is both the gate and the guard of the great tradition and knowledge that India has always had and shared very happily with everybody. We at Karnataka Sanskrit University believe in integrating the ancient thoughts with the modern day affairs, and we have tried to have projects ranging from Panini's Ashtadhyayi to the deep study of Darshana to the chanting the mantra projects that we have on the neurodynamics at NIMHANS. We are trying to cover all the ranges. As we have been talking, education for life, education for living, and education for livelihood. We have Samskrita for life, where we have the Vedic faculty, the Vedas and Upanishads. Samskrita for living, where we have Bhagavad Gita, Yoga Sutra, which helps us live better. And we offer certificate courses that's very easy at the reach of every common man, where people are interested to learn about the Dvaita, Advaita Siddhanta, Vishishtadvaita Siddhanta, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, easy courses that are designed to make life easier and better. And of course, for livelihood, we have our regular, the graduate, the postgraduate, and the doctoral programs. Karnataka Sanskrit University, I would like to humbly submit before Sadhguruji, has curated a course on Indian knowledge system and has offered it to 3,000 students in the last year, where we have been able to bring out concepts like happiness, where do we find it from, how to be emotionally strong, the emotional well-being, which is the need of the hour. And I think the Sanskrit effect that James Hertzell has put forth with, where he has observed the cognitive changes, is actually a leading lamp, and we have also taken up projects into further this and build up evidence on this thought. So we as a committed Sanskrit University would humbly request to collaborate with your great university in preserving, fostering, and sharing this knowledge with all the stakeholders wherever possible. In fact, even today here I heard that the Sanskrit department and the Sanskrit faculty are very good. That's one comment I get wherever we go. And probably if we could bring it on to all faculty, all students, I'm sure our mission will be much, much easier. As a Vaidya, I was very impressed with the hospital. I can't say more. And in the short span that you have been physically here, the impact it has made on the society is unimaginable, incredible. And Charaka's oath specially held my attention, where we say that व्यादेः तत्त्वपरिज्ञानं वेदनायाश्च निग्रहः एतत् वैद्यस्य वैद्यत्वं न वैद्यं प्रभुरायुषः. That is exactly what was written, that no Vaidya has the ownership of anybody's life. We can only do our duty. As an academician, I'm enthused with new vigor to go and work more for my institute. And as a Bharatiya, I'm extremely grateful to be walking on the same soil that so many stalwarts and great men and women of learning and character are here doing with. Pradeepah sarva vidyanam, upayah sarva karmanam, ashramah sarva dharmanam, vidyodeshe prakirtita. May the objective of Vidya do all these. Pradeepah sarva vidyanam, upayah sarva karmanam, and ashramah sarva dharmanam. May we be able to hold with us all the 4 ashramas together. May we have the purusharthas led by dharma, leading us to moksha. In between have dharma and kama and artha. With these words, words fail short to thank this opportunity that's been bestowed on me very unexpectedly by Sadhguruji and all of us, and praying for a stronger and a better India, a healthier and happier India, which can lead the world. Namaste to all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next speaker is Professor Jaiprakash Lalji, Chancellor, Jharkhand Central University, to address us, please. He is a distinguished professor in the Department of Genetics and Plant Breeding at Banaras Hindu University. With 40 years of teaching experience and 50 years in research, he has guided many PhD scholars and published over 137 research papers focusing on the evaluation and breeding of crop varieties. Professor J.P. Lal.
I pay my homage to Sadhguruji, distinguished dignitaries and the guests, and the Vice-Chancellors from all corners of India, and my dear students and ladies and gentlemen. This is the one of the very, very important spiritual knowledge and the practical knowledge, where 3 things are together. We have learned from yesterday's evening till this time. We have participated in the seminars, symposiums, where all the academics were discussed. But nowhere this 3 things all together, which is the need of the hour, which has been discussed elsewhere, except the Sathya University of Human Welfare, Human Excellence. Friends, you will agree with me. One thing I will always learning from the Vedas, Upanishad, and everywhere. In a one word, which it says, just we were discussing in our one of the session, Sanat Kumar's, the conversations with Naraji, they were emphasizing the learning from the books only. It is not going to put the impact on the society, even on the person himself. It is the one which dharmas, it is the one which really the bookish knowledge put into the practice, then only it has some impact. Which Sadhguruji said, knowledge without wisdom has no meaning. As you have learned, we have really come across to the all sorts of the practicality and practical impositions that have been paid to us. From very beginning, we have been taught what was our culture. Thus, Indian knowledge system. 3 important things are there. I remember try to see our back history. When Gurukul system were there, one shloka is there, which we try to impact. Na rajyam, na cha rajasi, na dandyo, na dandiko api. Dharmaraiva praja sarve, rakshanti sma parasparam. Friends, see the society, see the prosperity, see the social feelings. It persisted in the ancient time. It was written in the Manus Smriti. Nobody was there to rule. No, there was nothing to put the persons behind the bar. What was that? So society runs all together. Which Sadhguru said, it is the dharma, the right duties, righteousness, which has the impact on the society. Dharmarayas praja sarve. Praja means that is the people. You and I, whole society, who practices the dharma. That is the duties. That duties were most important to put behind us. It was not imposed. It was a self-realization. There is a difference between the self-realization and put forcibly on you. What you have learned, that is the difference between the today's define the duties and define the rights. Constitution has played these things. But you see, what is the impact on the society? We know what is the conditions we are facing, what are the problems we are facing today in the modern society. We have lost in the very concept note of this university, which has been circulated amongst you. Gandhiji identified those 7 factors. But what has been done? How to achieve it? Someone has to come. Just like one word what Veda says. Actually, we have to follow rather than just only to discuss. In one word, I say, our rishis at that time say, Yagya Shishtasana Santo. Yagya Shishtasana Santo. Munchate te sarva kilvisai. Bhunjate te tvagam papa. Ye pachantyatmakana. Friends, we have to follow it. Sadhguruji has said, and it is just you find. Because of the divine light, we can put it in ourselves. Our Vedas says it, but we don't follow it. The time is here. The need of the hour is that we should follow. Yagya Shishtasana Santo. A good person, a knowledgeable person, a wise person. What is this? What is the culture of those persons? This yag doesn't mean that you do and only yag and put something in the agni. No, it is not like that. It is that you have to perform your duties. What has to be done? He says, Munchate te sarvikilase. Those persons we are really pity. Those who are suffering. Those who are having the poverty. Those who are having the diseases and other things, sufferings. How you are going to remove them? Those words are there in our Vedas. Then they said, those who are not following it, then they have said, Bhunjate te bhagam papa. Those persons who are serving their own family, themselves only, they are not doing anything, they are just paap ke bhagi hai. It is that these are the sermons which have been given to us, but how we are going to follow? Here, it is one of the institutions. Not only the students are being trained, taught from starting, from the very beginning, from the primary education, but they have been inculcated all the characters, not only the moral, not only the ethos, but you have seen it. I must not speak something much more in front of Sadhguruji, who has already given so many things. We have to carry it. We have to perform, we have to transform us. You have seen one word, one nation, one world. We have to follow. And always we have seen Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. How this feeling will come? We have been Vishwaguru. How? Because of our knowledge which had spread. And I am here in South. From here this Rishi Agastya says, what he has done it. He has carried over the knowledge from here to the West. Not from West to here. We are following nowadays from West to India. At that time, Rishi Agastya conveyed all those knowledge, transformed all those knowledge to the West. And West people were there. And that's why we were the Vishwaguru. Friends, this is the time we have to say. In the leadership of the present era, something has already started. We have to do in our own university. How the curricula could be set up. How these education, values-based education system could be made available to all the university. The new education policy 2020 emphasizes upon it. But the question, who is going to implement it? Here we are the Vice-Chancellors, Chancellors, responsible for those things to be implemented. Friends, it is not to be much said. It is to be implemented, to be done, to be practiced. With these words, I hope this seminar will be one of the will give the guidelines and also to put a step forward to start practicing these three cultures, that is the dharma, vidya, and serving the society for the poorest of the poor of this nation, so that our nation to gain again the status of the Vishwaguru in years to come. Thank you. Dhanyavada.
Thank you, sir, for your kind and inspiring words. Next, we invite our Chancellor, Shri B. N. Narasimhamurthy ji, to address us, please.
With salutations at the lotus feet of Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, educational leaders on the stage, off the stage, dear brothers and sisters, students, boys and girls. At the outset, I would like to express on behalf of the university our gratitude to every one of you who took time off to come over here from long distances and participate in this Vice-Chancellors conference. I would also like to compliment Professor Ahalya, Professor Sri Jaiprakash Lal for their spirited talks and the very noble ideas and sentiments expressed by them. I should say that it was a very overwhelming experience for me that each and every one of you were so enthusiastic. Each and every one of you understood what is happening here. Each and every one of you appreciated what is happening here, and you expressed your willingness to forge a partnership with our university to take this education on human values in higher education for implementation by framing a curriculum, developing the faculty, and devising methods of assessment. Lao Tse, the great Chinese philosopher, was almost a contemporary of Lord Buddha, who came a little later, and Confucius. He asked 4 profound questions about human life. The first question, what is sacred in life? That is one question. The second question, What is Tao means the universal creator, God, made up of. That is the second question. Third question, what is it that we can live for in our life? The fourth question, what is that we can die for? These four questions he asked, and he said, there is only one answer. This is what Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba also said. He said, selfless love, which expresses itself as empathy and compassion, is the answer to all the four questions. Selfless love, which expresses itself as empathy and compassion, that is what is sacred in human life. Without that, human life has no value. What is God made of? Selfless love. What is worth living for? Selfless love. What is worth dying for? Selfless love. In all languages, the great saints in our country and elsewhere also, they have spoken in different languages. This morning, one of the Vice-Chancellors quoted, Daive Dharmada Moolavaya. That is, compassion is the foundation of all dharma. Without compassion, there is no dharma. Therefore, if we can inculcate, see, curriculum, yes, we have to definitely work on it. But each and every one of us, and every teacher who has the privilege to look at the fresh faces of students either in a school or a college, everyone can inspire if they can inculcate this quality of selfless love by expressing not only in words but in actions how teachers can love the students, how teachers can sacrifice for the students, how teachers can mold the students. Even before we agree upon a universal curriculum or any other methods, each and every one of us today, as Vice-Chancellors, we wield vast influence on our teachers. You would be knowing that in your university there are teachers who are very passionate about values, who practice values in life, who practice goodness in life. Partha naiveha namutra vinashas tasya vidyate nahi kaschit kalyanakrut durgatim tata gacchati, assured Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, a doer of good, who loves, who is compassionate, who helps, who serves, nothing bad can happen to him either in this world. Partha naiveha namutra vinasaha tasya vidyate. Neither here nor in the next world, definitely will never meet with any ruin or anything that is bad. Nahi kaschit kalyanakrut durgatim tata gacchati. A doer of good will never come to grief. This is the assurance of God we have. Therefore, each and every one of us definitely can start off from this moment. We can start off by inspiring our teachers to take up this. See, no government policy can stop. Suppose there is a teacher, a noble teacher, who believes in values, who practices values, who wants to help people. He can make a huge impact on students. See, that is how it should, this ripple effect can be started. And finally, every one of you have expressed complete support and appreciation for the kind of work that is happening here under the inspiration and leadership of Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai. In fact, many of you have told me personally, also in the group, that Sadhguru should take up the leadership of introducing human values at university level, at government level. He can do it and he has to do it. Offering your prayer at the lotus feet of Sadhguru, I conclude and pray for his valedictory address. Thank you very much.
Let's chant the Sahanavavatu mantra. Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavid Vishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sahanavavatu, may we be protected together. Sahanau Bhunaktu, may we both enjoy this learning and teaching together. Sahaviryam Karavavahai, may we exert ourselves together in this process of education. Tejasvinam adhitamastu, and that effulgence of wisdom that emanates from this process, may it remain in our memory forever. Ma vidvishavahai, may we not be the cause of hostility or discomfort to each other. May there be peace in our body, mind, and the spirit. Thus pray the rishis of the Upanishads. Education is essentially a process of an exchange between two, the Guru and the Sishya. And India's backbone, cultural, social, and spiritual backbone has been this Guru Shishya Parampara. Without that, India would not have been existing today. It would have broken into pieces like so many other countries that were colonized, and they don't remain anymore the same as they were in the past. But this educational system, this Guru Sishya Parampara, is that which has kept the country together. And this is why it is so important to further strengthen this parampara of education in our country, which is based on our cultural values. Only then our country would be Bharat, the country of those who revel in wisdom, Bharata. Just now they chanted from Taittiriya Upanishad, the boys from the Vedic studies. Even in the morning, the girls from the Vedic studies also had chanted, again from Taittiriya Upanishad. This mantra which boys chanted is the mantra that the Guru chants. Very interestingly, he prays that may my Gurukulam prosper. May right kind of students come to me. Brahmacharina. Brahmacharis are those whose minds are invested in the investigation of Brahman, who are always reveling or dwelling in that thought of Brahman, which is the highest education. So may such good students come to me from every direction. Amayantu brahmacharina swaha, imayantu brahmacharina swaha, pramayantu brahmacharina swaha. And he says, my Gurukulam should grow, yashojanesani swaha. May it grow in its glory. Yatha masa aharjaram, like the months roll into the years spontaneously, naturally. Likewise, dharayantu, my shishyas should come running to me, seeking my Gurukulam from all directions. A Guru prayed that he should get right kind of students, eligible students, deserving students, so that whatever he passes on, it remains adhitamastu, it remains in the minds of the shishyas and continues from there. This is the prayer that Guru makes before he starts the Gurukulam. And of course he prays to the divine, may my Gurukulam be sufficiently endowed. Annapane cha sarvada, there be water and food for everyone. May there be good animal, cattle was the wealth in those days. Lo masha pashubhihi. All kinds of cattle should be there with me, so that I can look after my children well. And you know why does he pray for all this? Because in the old times, Gurukulams were not having any fee structure. It was free for everyone. That was the culture of our country, where education was not a commodity, but it was the right of everyone who deserved an education. And Guru's responsibility it was to provide for everything that the students required. And how did these Gurukulams run? By the patronage of other people in the society, the kings, the rich ones, the philanthropists, and so many other traders and those people who had things to share. And what was the Guru Dakshina at the end of the whole thing, which is what they chanted in the end, in the morning, the Shishyanusasanam from Taittiriya Upanishad. And Guru says, what do I want from you? Prajatantum mavyavachhetsi. Do not break this lineage of teaching and learning. Continue to spread this education to more and more people. Don't let it not stop with you. Swadhyaya, pravachanebhya. Continue your swadhyaya and also continue pravachana. Pravachana means to continue to teach. Do not stop this lineage, do not stop this parampara. Continue, that is the best gift you can give me. Acharyaya dharam priyamaritya prajatantu mavyavachetsi. What is good for the teacher, what makes the teacher happy. Do that. And what is that? Prajatantu mavyavachetsi. Many people think prajatantu means continue the lineage in which you are born, continue to marry, have children, grandchildren. No. The Guru is saying prajatantu means this parampara that you have started of learning and teaching, you may continue this. And continues to guide them. Everything. Satyanna pramaditavyam, dharmanna pramaditavyam, kushalanna pramaditavyam. Do not deviate from Satya, do not deviate from Dharma, do not deviate from Kushala. Kushala both in excellence and bhutyaina pramaditavyam. Do not deviate from the path of good to others. Take care of others. Be excellent in your whatever you do and also make sure that you are able to support, help others. Swadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam. He says that learning and teaching should not stop. Somebody said the one who graduates today and stops learning tomorrow becomes uneducated the day after. So learning is a continuous process which teachers also should engage in and students also should engage in. So also teaching is a continuous lifelong process. That was the ideal on which our Gurukulams were formed. And one may say, oh, that must have been 5,000 years ago or 3,000 years ago or whatever. No. The book, The Beautiful Tree by Dharampalji, says that as recent as 1822, early 19th century, when Thomas Munro undertook a study of all the education system in India, before the famous Lord Macaulay went and told that we must destroy it in some way. The system that they found out was just in Bihar and Bengal presidencies, there were more than 1 lakh schools. In every village there was a school. And they were learning mathematics, they were learning language, they were learning astronomy, they were learning law, they were learning finance. And all this was for everyone. Nobody was denied. This myth of education was available only for the elite and the higher class people is a myth. He says 68% of those students across Madras presidency, Bihar and Bengal and Bombay presidency were students who had come from not the elite class. You understand what I mean. They were from regular walks of life, like regular classes of the society. So this whole idea that India's system was very elitist, it's only was for a few, it's wrong. It was a myth. That is what Mr. Dharampal argues. And he says it was decided that this system should be dismantled if India must be made a slave to the colonial forces, because we are too proud of our heritage and culture. Unless our pride is broken, which is our backbone, our culture is destroyed, which is our backbone, there is no way that we will submit to these forces from the West. So it was a planned approach of systematically dismantling, this is the word Dharampalji uses. And to revive this, many people tried. Gandhiji tried with Nahi Talim. That was his visionary idea that we should take children to the rural villages, Antyodaya, Grama Swaraj, all these ideas that he came up with. And he tried to create a university which would propagate this idea of engaging the students with the society for everyone's upliftment. Similarly, Rabindranath Tagore was there. He did his own effort in bringing a cultural revival, and he was synthesizing cultures of all the countries from the east to the west and keeping Indian thought in the center, at the core. As long as he was there, definitely it was happening. The Shantiniketan today, Ravindra Bharati, whatever the campus is, that is something that was his brainchild. He wanted it to be a beacon of hope, like Takshashilas and Nalandas of the past. So also I was just talking to Professor Lalji. He was mentioning about Mahamana Madan Mohan Malviya ji of Kashi Hindu Vishwavidyalaya. The great vision he started to bring back this Indian knowledge system, indigenous system into higher education. Not just small gurukulams and schools, but in higher education. He also started that. Imagine in British time, Malviya ji goes and tries to establish a Hindu-based university, in the sense Indian knowledge system-based university in those days, with minimal resources. My only question was to our people, please go and study all these universities and come back and tell me how are they faring after whatever 100 years from their establishments. And all of them came back and said, yes, to some extent the values are of the vision of the founders is being practiced, but due to the pressure of the changing times, new courses and job-oriented courses and things like that have come, and life is going on, but definitely much better, it can be done much better. That was the feedback we received. Before we established our university, we went and studied these universities. And we wanted to know what can go right and wrong over a period of time. So from there we believed that if nobody does it, then there is no future for the country and its younger generation. Somebody has to take it upon themselves. Somebody has to do it for the whole country and the world. And this is the idea with which this university was established, that how can we create not just ordinary human beings, but yogis of sorts. This university's motto comes from yoga, karmasu kaushalam comes from Bhagavad Gita. Buddhi yukto jahatiha, ubhe sukruta dushkrute, tasmad yogaya yujyasva, yoga karmasu kaushalam. Be a yogi, says Krishna to Arjuna. Don't be a warrior, don't be a kshatriya. Be a yogi. And how does that yogi behave? He discriminates, buddhi yukto. He is endowed with right kind of discrimination, chooses right from wrong. Jahati ube sukra dushkrute. And gives up the idea of this is good or this is evil. In the sense, Arjuna was struggling with this concept that he is about to kill his own kith and kin. Was it right at all? Should he not beg and eat instead of killing his kith and kin and win a kingdom? That time Krishna says, no, whatever is needed for dharma, establishment of dharma, you must do that. And don't worry about the consequences, good, bad, papa, punya, all that I will look after. You do your duty, you do your dharma. And tasmad yoga yujyasva. Therefore, engage in yoga, invest your mind in this yoga. Yoga means you are connected to that highest source, not just an ordinary source of the mind or the intellect, but even beyond that, the spirit that you are endowed with, you are connected to that highest idea of dharma. And through that, you engage yourself in this war. And then you will be able to do it perfectly. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Unless you are a yogi, your actions cannot be perfect. And who is a yogi? Whose mind is invested in the higher thought of God and divinity, the good of all, dharma. The one who is guided by that, such a person with discrimination can be a yogi and who can definitely perform his actions to perfection. This was the idea of our system of education, because even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is a guru, Arjuna is a shishya, and battlefield is the Gurukula, where he is practically what we call as design thinking now. That is what was happening. He creates a situation and teaches Arjuna practically how it should be done. So also Dharmapalji says that in those Gurukulam systems, there was no rote method or examination by writing and submitting and correction of evaluation of papers. Guru would sit, Shishya would repeat, and oral traditions were there, and practical way of demonstrating and showing how it is to be done. That was the way. There were no prescribed textbooks or that kind of a curriculum. It was something that was coming from their memory. So that parampara is reason why after destroying lakhs of books also, our knowledge did not get destroyed. Because the gurus remembered it and Sishyas remembered it, and they could verbatim repeat it because this knowledge was there in their, stored in their head. They had assimilated it. Tejasvinam adhitamastu. It was never lost to their memory. This was the beauty of the Indian knowledge system, which was very practical, very society oriented, and it was preserved and protected by this sacrifice of the gurus and the sincerity of the students. Because there was no commerce involved, that was the best part of it. The moment commerce gets involved, it becomes a business. Then there is a balance sheet of assets and liabilities and profit and loss accounts. And then you start looking at the whole system from a different angle. Once education became commercialized, because Western idea was that. Otherwise, education was supposed to be sponsored by the society for everybody's welfare. Krishna studied there, Sudama also studied in the same place. Nobody paid any fees, so both had access to that education. But that was not to be after Macaulay's observation of how to control this country and how to break its backbone of culture. Education system was the reason they found, and they dismantled it. all the funding was stopped to the Gurukulas, and all that was diverted towards westernized educational system, which was here to create only clerks and what you call servants of the British Empire. So English-based education, and then somehow it was packaged so well that everybody thought only English education is the right thing. They felt proud about it because that was the only way they could survive. They continued with their old knowledge system. They had no jobs. British ensured that there was no job for such people. That was the reason why. But the job-oriented education, or what I said, the packaged-based performance education is the reason why we are in doldrums today and our systems are malfunctioning. What can change? Go back to the old roots. Hale beru hosa chiguru Kudiralu marasobhagu, says Diviji. Old roots are still there. New shoots have to come. Fortunately, this beautiful tree, even though it was cut down, the roots are intact. Only it requires a little more nurturing and the tree will grow back. And that nurturing, that protecting this tree and that part, that duty is ours now as educationists. And we are at a very beautiful juncture in the history of India because communication has improved, transportation has improved, the way knowledge is disseminated and spread has also become very good. Earlier, imagine somebody had to study, they had to physically be aware, be available. Guru could only take so many because the class had limitations. So not everybody could access education. This kind of population, the today's technology is definitely a game changer. So we have to utilize technology. As I said, the knife cuts both ways. It is up to the user how to use it. So this technology is a double-edged sword, everybody knows it, but we can use it for the right reason also. Using technology to disseminate values-based education is another way. Using digital means also is another way that we can spread this education faster. And my personal request to every of the Vice-Chancellors and eminent people who are associated, and especially those who are very committed to this cause of values-based education, is please dedicate, as Narsimurthy said, there will be a passionate faculty, maybe a scholar or two in your institutions. Please identify them, make them a part of this team. As a university, we will support them. We will support establishment of a center of or a department of values education in your universities from our side. We will support one faculty and two scholars under that department from our university side as a part of this effort. So I request our Vice-Chancellor, Murthyji, Srikanta Murthyji, to expedite the process to bring out these MOUs for establishment of values education center, and let us start deliberating and start working on these ideas. And I hope in a few months from now, there will be a more structured methodology which would be developed by all of you. I'm sure Arunachal Pradesh must learn values-based education based on Arunachal Pradesh's context. Telling them a story from South would not make any sense. It has to be contextualized for the people there who are living there. That is the way this curriculum should be developed. There are universal values, individual values, but they should be contextualized with the right kind of examples, the stories, which are native, indigenous to that place. That is when we will be able to make it very effective, because they would be able to relate to it. It would be relevant to them. So that effort, every university in their own geographies will have to undertake, at least cluster-wise, if not all. A whole of Northeast may have one kind of teaching, or one kind of, not a curriculum, but the way it would be presented to the students. West may have another way, North and South may have another way, Center may have another way. For example, I come from Chhattisgarh originally. It's a tribal district. We know tribal stories. We have been told about their lives. And suddenly coming to Karnataka and learning everything about Kannadigas was an effort. But nevertheless, after some years, we learned that. So it would be easy for the students to relate to their local stories of inspiration and example, of sacrifice and service, so that they also can emulate those examples. That would be one effort why these centers have to be established, because it cannot be one size fits all kind of an approach. It has to be very customized to the local needs and nativity. That is one thing that I definitely want. And languages, many of them may be comfortable with English, some may not be. So localizing it again to make it best suited for more people is another thing. India speaks multiple languages. Universities run in different languages. Of course, English is medium in most of the places, but then they may feel more connected if it is in their native language. That would be another effort. So these efforts would require a dedicated faculty and maybe at least 1 or 2 scholars under them who would continuously work on this idea. So please encourage someone in your university. You please monitor the program, and now, as I said, physical distances are no more a limitation. One is because transportation is better, other is because digital methods are available. So we can always connect digitally and continue to deliberate and continue this effort which has started. We do not really want to take a step back once we have taken a step forward. And that is what Bhagavan would tell all the same. That whatever you have decided upon, you must do it. Pattina dedayo, pattane pattitivi, pattine gedu daka atte undu, he used to say. What you have decided upon, determined upon, hold on to it. Keep at it. Do not take a step backwards. Because that is not the way. He would always encourage us. So this is how we must take a step forward from here. I am very appreciative of all the time and your ideas, thoughts that have been shared. I have been told about a few of them. I will sit with the team, again understand what practically can start, what would take time. But for your information, in our university we also have a rural development course, which is a very practical course. It's, I believe, 2-credit course, which makes certain hours in a semester available, both to understand the theory of rural India, what takes to develop rural India, and also practicals when students go out into the rural setup and interact with the rural India and understand their problems and issues, and they get sensitized about the need. Because larger part of India lives in rural India, and that is the economy that still needs to develop. If you want to become $5 trillion economy, yes, maybe an idea or two in the urban setup may take us there, but that won't be an equitable growth. That will be a lopsided growth, which is not good for any economy. I travel around the world, and I have been to many countries, and just to give you the practical understanding of what's going on in those countries, I'm sure some of you might know. I was in South America, in one of the biggest countries, developed countries, so to say, and the police commissioner there comes and tells me, Swamiji's 25 years ago, there was only one jail and plenty of schools. Today there are 25 jails, all are full, and they're all, most of them are juvenile criminals. And now for small petty crimes like, pickpocketing or small stealing, they don't even have place to keep them in jail, so they just give them a slap and send them away. Because keeping them in jail is very expensive. They are government's guests, that's what they say. So you will have to spend from your tax revenues. In America, I met somebody who is in charge of what you call a reformation centers. They don't call it jail. In reformation, whatever centers, they were telling they spend close to $15,000 per person per year just to keep them in jail and help them stay and whatever, improve from their reform. In Australia, we have a school run by another organization, association with us. They get a grant from government of 10,000 Australian dollars per child. Because these are children who come from very difficult social backgrounds, whose parents are, convicted, or they have such backgrounds, fallen through the cracks. When I asked them, oh, that's a very good scheme, government is sponsoring that kind of budget. They say yes, because they know if these children also become like their fathers or criminals, they'll have to spend $20,000 a year to look after them. So that is why we have done this. And some places in some countries, don't want to name the country, there's a government policy for all these people who are into substance abuse, who are, addicted to using substances. They are of no use to the country, the government, especially indigenous tribes have become like that. So what does the government do? It has licensed it. It has said, you can go to this particular drugstore and collect your daily dose, so that you take that and lie in some corner and don't disturb the regular life of others. It has been formalized, where those drug addicts and those, whatever so-called substance abusers are given free of charge substance. So take and don't disturb the rest of the economy, lie in one corner and be away. These have been formalized in systems like that. I was in the US again on the East Coast this time, and a court judge, she's judge who pronounces verdicts for juvenile crimes, gun violence, and all that. She was telling, my heart breaks every time I look at a young 12 or 13 or 15-year-old boy or a girl, and I have to convict them because they have done something which is criminal. It breaks my heart because I feel this boy or this girl's life is going to be ruined because now they will be branded as convicts. They will never come up in life again. What should I do? She was asking me, how to stop this? I had only one answer. If the education system is right, then everything will fall into place. See, a child spends largest number of waking hours in a school, not with the parents. He may be at home longer than in school, but he sleeps at home with very little time to interact with the parents. Most of his waking hours, when he absorbs, learns, grows, is in the schools and colleges. That is where all the education should go right. Parents are very busy, as Dr. earlier said, that it's nuclear families, double income families, very little time to pay attention to their children and their growth. They want to outsource everything, including parenting, to agencies. In this kind of setup, there is only way. The education system has to double up and do the job of parenting also along with teaching, which is what Gurukulas did. Gurus were parents too, because children were deposited there for 12 full years. After that, they will come back. By the time they had learnt everything, all life's lessons they learnt from a guru. This kind of system, residential system, may not be possible everywhere. It is, as I said, again, practical issues are there. Our system is very differently designed. Environment is conducive. It's a controlled environment, as I mentioned. So experiments have a certain results. In an uncontrolled environment, the results would be different, that we all know. So how to also implement this in a non-residential setup where children will go at the end of the day to their home. They have access to all kinds of information, social media, distractions. How do we keep them focused? And so that challenge is going to be very different for the value education. And as Professor Lal said, it's about implementation. A policy is as good as implementation. And practice is what is important. Swami Vivekananda said, 1 ounce of practice is worth more than 20 tons of preaching. And that is what we have to do. The practice part of it has to begin. I understand the constraints of all the universities because there is no formal policy on this. Though it is proposed, but it is not a formal structured policy that this has to be implemented in this way. It is for up to us to decide how to structure and create those centers. So from our university, the one thing that I really want to support this whole program with is we would definitely support a center, a department in your own universities. You have to identify the right kind of faculty. And as I said, all faculty cannot be, the whole department cannot be all faculty. There has to be a younger generation which can talk to the students. So a representative of the students community who can be a part of this center, and a research scholar who can continuously work on new ideas and develop this methodology under the guidance of the faculty. So these 3 people in a department is something that we would take upon ourselves to support. Please do establish such centers. And I would also request everyone that if you all can be here for Guru Purnima, unless you have some other engagements, please be a part of the convocation of the university. And that is the day we really want to formalize this structure and say that we are stepping forward. Today we might be 50 odd universities over here, but by November we would think that at least in 100 universities, if we establish these centers, then that would be a critical mass that would tilt the balance. And I think that would start sending the right kind of message to all of the universities. So across east, west, north, south, and center of the country, we would like to establish at least 100 such values-based education centers in regular universities and start the work from there. So this is my humble submission. And I'm sure with Baba's grace and the effort of everyone, it's possible. Shri Krishna says, Yatra Yogishwar Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhuti Dhruva Niti Matirmama. Where there is Yogishwara Krishna to guide, where is Partha, Dhanurdara, the bow-wielding Arjuna, ready to fight, that is where success happens. So I think this will become successful with our collective efforts. May this happen soon. May this benefit every child in the country and beyond, because Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is our philosophy. If we get it right, we know how to do it, we can spread this to the whole world. And I'm sure there are passionate teachers out there who are just waiting for the right kind of encouragement and opportunity. And once they get that, they can do miracles for the younger generation. With these words of gratitude to everyone, and leaving an open invitation for all to visit us anytime and discuss and deliberate and take it further. I pray for the success of this program, and we definitely want to see an India in some years which is like our ancient Gurukula India, where everybody has right to education in the truest sense. I hope the society would rise to the occasion, and one day education should be available for no cost to anybody who wants to get educated is my vision for the education system of the world. But I am sure this will happen sometime with our collective efforts. So again, conveying our heartfelt gratitude to one and all, I conclude.
Thank you, Sadhguru, for your gracious words of wisdom. I now invite Dr. Hanumantrao Naidu, Registrar Administration, Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, to propose the vote of thanks.
With loving pranams at the lotus feet of our dear Sadhguru, Sri Madhusudan Sai, today I have the honor of offering the vote of thanks on behalf of Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence to all those who have supported the organizing of today's event. First and foremost, our heartfelt gratitude to all the Vice-Chancellors and dignitaries who have taken time away from their busy schedule to come and participate in this event. We had 50 participants from 47 universities across 18 states. Some of these Vice-Chancellors have come from far and wide. That only shows their commitment to this very important and noble topic of values-based education. Some VCs have come in a very short notice, which again is a reflection of their enthusiasm to contribute to this cause. Once again, thanks to all of them. I also extend my gratitude to all the 3 chairs of the roundtable sessions, Shri B.N. Narsimurthy ji, Professor J.P. Lal ji, Professor Sheila Ramachandran ji, and also Professor J. Shashidhar Prasad ji for chairing the session and conducting these sessions in a smooth and constructive way. Thanks also to our Honorable Chancellor and Vice-Chancellor for guiding us in planning and execution of this event. No event of this scale is possible without the continuous support of various departments and units of the ashram. I would like to particularly mention the admin section, Sai Prakashna and outreach team, guest management team, transportation, kitchen, IT, and AV, security, stage management, maintenance, and HR section for their continuous support. Special thanks to Dr. Sai Swarupa Iyer, faculty from Chanakya University, for joining hands in content creation. Thanks to our own staff and students who were more than eager to participate and contribute to this event. Without their untiring efforts, this event was next to impossible. More than gratitude, I would like to rather express a sense of pride of being associated with such students and staff for whom serving comes first before anything else. Finally, and the most important one, our prayerful, reverential, and heartfelt gratitude to Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, who is the true source and the true force behind all the efforts. He is the one who guided this event from its beginning to its end. We pray to him to continue to guide us and help us play our part in this noble mission and achieve greater milestones. We believe today's ending is just a beginning of a higher and longer, but surely a successful journey. With these words and thanking all once again, I conclude. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Thank you, everyone. I now request all delegates of the conference to kindly come on stage for a photo opportunity. We will now conclude with the national anthem and request everyone to kindly rise, please. Thank you all once again. We will have a short break for 10 minutes, after which we shall reconvene for this evening's cultural program. Thank you.